Thank you for joining us in our video series that's been designed to give you updates. I'm joined today by our Scientific Research Director, Tim Stillinger, who's going to share some unique highlights in the restoration project.
So what we're looking at here is a new least tern nesting area that we're constructing. This area of the lagoon was an old settling pond from a wastewater treatment plant back in the day. And so this was very disturbed habitat that was in the wetland but wasn't actually wetland habitat. And so it was the ideal spot to convert into a least tern nesting area. And least terns are really particular birds about where they nest. They require bare sand ground with no plants growing on it. And they're also susceptible to lots of predators. So what we do is we are building this area here. You can see the large pile of sand back there, and we're going to cover this area with 3 to 4 feet of sand so that no plants can grow. And then the area is going to be higher elevation than the trail and the wetland around it, so it's harder for predators to get up onto it. So we're really excited to finish this area because we've never had an area like this in the lagoon for least terns to nest in, and as an endangered bird, we're really looking forward to them calling the lagoon home one day soon in the future.
Wow, that sounds great. And another interesting site is where we planted California cordgrass. Let's go check it out. So here we have a site that was designated to keep cordgrass growing during this project. Why was that important?
So as part of the restoration project, we've planted thousands and thousands of plants in the reserve. And a lot of these plants we've had grown at specialty nurseries in the county of San Diego, where they specialize in growing native plants. But behind me you'll see a very particular type of plant called cordgrass, also known as Spartina, that you actually can't buy in a nursery. And this is probably the most important plant that we have to plant as part of our project, because it is the plant that the endangered Ridgeway rail lives in and hides in when it's being predated on. And so we had to figure out a way to grow all of the cordgrass that we needed for the site, for the project, on site. So what we ended up doing is creating a nursery in the lagoon itself. And behind me you can see this nursery in various stages of how we use it. So in the far back, in these areas that are really lush and green, those are areas that we planted about 2 years ago with cordgrass plugs. And what we do in here is we make it sure that the tides come up and down every day, because the cordgrass live at exactly 4 to 5 feet above low tide level. And so they need very exact amounts of coverage by water as the tides change every day of the month. And so those areas we grew, and then when they look like that, when we're ready to plant in areas of the lagoon, we then take most of the cordgrass and transplant it out in the various parts of the lagoon that we've designed to be at that magic level of 4 to 5 feet above low tide level. Once we've cleared an area of the cordgrass, we then go back in and replant it really sparsely like this. And this area right next to me kind of shows you what the nursery looks like right when we plant it. And then you can see after a year or two, it looks like the really dense, lush stands of cordgrass behind me. And so the goal of the project is we plant cordgrass all around the lagoon at that magic elevation between 4 and 5 feet above low tide level. And we plant it really sparsely like this, with the hopes that it will eventually grow over the next few years to look more like that really lush cordgrass you see behind me.
So some of that cordgrass was here from the beginning. And speaking of beginnings, it reminds me that this is the beginning of something new, which is monitoring the long-term success of this project.
Yes, it is.
From all of us here at Nature Collective, thank you for joining us. Join us again next week, where Tim can tell you more about the monitoring project for the next 50 years. We miss each and every one of you. Be well and stay safe.